now? Okay, all right. Can everybody hear me okay? I don't need to use the mic, or is everybody good? Do I need to use the mic to recording? Okay, all right. I don't like using mics. Is it on? Oh, I can carry it. Hey. I never was going to sing her, so. There you go. So, okay. All right. That better? Okay, all right. Okay, so as I was saying, I'm going to try to give a 50,000-foot view tonight of some things that are going to be affecting our district. Not going to try to solve the world problems tonight, but what we are going to work towards, and if you will pull up the agenda, the purpose for this meeting tonight really is just information. And that information is going to lead us, hopefully, if you look at the very bottom, to a committee of volunteers that's going to work towards helping make decisions that will impact what's going on with our district and our campuses. Okay. I also have tonight some gentlemen from the city of Arlington, and they are going to be talking about some TxDOT projects with the corridor and with the sublet expansion. And Sabino Martin is a civil engineer. Okay. Eric? I'm Chris, sorry. and Chris, I'm sorry, I'm having problems still with that, so I apologize. I wasn't expecting Chris to be with us tonight, but he's going to be here. But I will let Sabino take it over right now and kind of tell you a quick overview of where the city of Arlington is with the expansion of Sublet Road, and how many of you know that Sublet Road is going to be expanded? Okay, how many didn't know at all? Okay, all right. So from right in front of Whataburger, that light in Whataburger, and coming across to Kennedale proper is going to be expanded to a 4-lane road. And I will let Sabino take over and kind of tell you where they are in that project. We've been having some meetings started, I guess, with the Zoom meeting, I don't know how long ago, and right in the middle of all the COVID stuff. So anyway, I'm going to turn it over to Sabino right now.
All right. Thank you all for having me today. I will be talking about Sublet Road. So I'll start off with the limits. It is going to start at Joplin and extend to your city limits, where it now splits into a 2-lane divided road. The road essentially is going to be 4 lanes wide, like he described. However, it's going to be striped differently than 4 lanes. It will have 2 lanes in either direction. Excellent. 2 lanes in either direction, and a center left turn lane to allow for those left turns. On top of that, we'll also have on-street bike lanes and then sidewalk on both sides of the road. So as you see behind me, it is going to be shifted to the north a little bit. That's to help with the floodplain that's existing there. We have a no-rise policy in the city of Arlington, and also most of our floodplain also is adjacent to Kennedale. So most of the time, a bridge helps with that. So that's why we have it shifted to the north to allow for to be able, I guess, to not increase the floodplain and then create a blockage, if that makes sense. So there's 2 things that were important in this project, which was one, and also remain connectivity to the 2 streets. So there's a balance between shifting it to the north, raising the bridge, and then still have that connectivity. So as you see there, we are encroaching into Kennedale ISD property. It's proposed at this moment. We are at 90% plans, so we've gotten to the point of design to where we made sure there was no rise in the floodplain, and weighed those 2, I guess, limits as far as the floodplain and the right-of-way to make sure that we don't encroach any further than we need to. If you look up there, also there's a dashed line. In that area, we're actually having to do mitigation. So we are going to have to, I guess, remove some trees and do some major grading so that way we don't have a rise. So that was the 2 things. We did look at extending the bridge even longer and I guess further to the north and raising it higher, but none of those options actually helped with the floodplain. So that's why we have it here and the extensive mitigation, I would say, to the north. So like I said, we are at 90% plans. Utility phase has begun to where, of course, all the utilities in the area are going to have to be moved because there are going to be some conflicts. We have submitted our plans to the Corps of Engineers to receive a permit, because anytime you touch a stream, and in this case, we do have wetlands in the area, so we do have to get a permit from them. And then also, like I said, we have begun our right-of-way and temporary construction easement. We are going to be affecting some properties in the city of Kennedale. The Kennedale ISD property to the north is actually located in Arlington, but as you move to the west and south, on the south side of Sublette, it then becomes the city of Kennedale. So there are some properties there. Mainly it's going to deal with connecting to their existing driveways. So that's where we're going to be encroaching a little bit further than the right-of-way. Next, I'll move on to the schedule, as that summarizes the plans and as far as where we are in design. So plans will be finalized here in June is what we're proposing, and that's after we've met all the comments from the city of Kennedale. Of course, they comment on these plans, so that way we can address any issues that they have there, and also, like I said, allows us time to receive that permit from the Corps. We are proposing to bid sometime in October, November. That's going to be about a 3 to 4 month process before then we start construction, which will be proposed in February of 2022. And so with that pretty much summarizes my presentation here on Sublette Road. Are there any questions? I don't know if we want to allow for questions now or later.
You still have to get the appraisal, because what you're looking at right there, that is school district property, and that's behind the Kroger area right here, and then this is our school district property, and there will be a appraisal that has to be done, and do you know when the appraisal will be set up?
Yes, so we're actually been contacted today with our real estate department, because they're the ones that are taking it over at this time. So they're looking at about a 6 to 9 month process. Within the first 3 months is about usually when we get the appraisal. So right now it's going to be staked, and the documents will be finalized as far as for the appraiser to come out, look at the site, and give us that number. We won't begin any construction until that right-of-way phase is completely complete and all the property's been acquired that's needed.
So how far out exactly do you think that we are before construction even start?
As far as right-of-way?
I guess to where y'all begin construction, where we're in the process and construction begins on it.
So, like I said, anywhere from 6 to 9 months, and that begins here in May, as far as when we finally have that wrapped up, which then brings us closer to our real start date of construction being around February 2022, so next year.
And the other thing I think that, we talked about, there will be two-way traffic continuous, so I think that's a concern that everybody would like to know, because that is a major vital thoroughfare through our district and through our community, and no stoppage of traffic, that there will be two-way traffic, and how y'all may be looking at that.
Yeah, so we do plan on having two-way traffic remaining throughout the construction period. We do have a phasing plan in the plan set to keep that. Now, the contractor may revise the phases, but any way that he does, it'll still have to remain two-way traffic.
Now, I think we have the other, did you pull up the other picture from the corridor? Okay. Do you want to briefly talk about the corridor and what you know? I'll let you go on that.
Yeah, so for the city of Arlington, I am the project liaison for the TxDOT Southeast Connector project, so I have a little bit of insight on this. So right now, in this month of May, is all the proposals for the design build contractors were actually submitted. So during this time, they're going to be looking and reviewing to see and select a design build proposal, or design build contractor. From what I understand, they're going to be selecting that design builder in September of 2021, so late this year, and then they're going to begin design in December of 2021. But the way this project was bid, like I said, it was design build, where they design it and build it all in the same time. Right now, what you see on the Sublette Road, we first go through a whole entire design phase, and then we post it out to bid. This here, he's going to be designing it, and as he designs it, he's going to be building it. So this allows a lot quicker and cheaper construction. So that's how this is going to be handled. So like I said, design starts in December. However, they're going to be designing for about a year before they actually break ground. And I say about a year because that's typically how long it takes to get a good plan set to actually start and continuously build on. Now, during that first year, you'll probably see some utility relocations going on, some minor work, moving water, sewer, telephone, communications, things like that. So you would probably expect major construction more of late 2022. And then the length of the project is supposed to be completed, I think, late 2027, but it's about 6 years long. Any questions? And I don't have that much insight on it, as, like I said. Sure. You're talking about Sublet Road? Yeah, so that one will begin in February 22 is when the project's going to begin. As far as construction, we're probably looking about a year. So it'll be done by February 2023. The 6 years that I was talking about there was for the Textile Southeast Connector. That's where they're rebuilding the 287, 20, and 820 intersection. That's my understanding. I don't know what process our real estate department right now is going through as far as when they'll be contacting you, but in general, that's our procedure.
Appraisal, then purchase from the district.
Because that is district project, there's going to have to be an appraisal. They're going to have to offer fair market value for that, and that goes through another division. They're just doing the 90% plans and working towards that. But the appraisal won't really happen we won't really get rolling until February.
Yeah, so the appraisal itself will probably be done by July, August. So that's about when our real estate division would be contacting our Kennedale ISD.
And can you show us this, like what portion of that road up there is the Kennedale ISD property?
All of that.
So basically from the line there that you can see where the businesses are all the way over to where it's going to connect.
And this line is right here.
Yes, all the way.
Over. And I think there's some other areas over here on the far edge that may be the city's property, but I don't know exactly what that boundary is.
So I think right here, if you go straight to the north, because north is up, that's where your boundary is here on the west side. On the east side, it's going to be this boundary here. So everything from there in between to the north, starting just north of the existing road. So from there all the way to, I guess you can see that dashed blue line that's kind of just underneath the green area. If you follow that east and west, that's the proposed boundary of the new right-of-way.
You will be bringing a presentation to the board when you think you will be ready for a presentation.
What's going to happen with the old road right there?
The old road will be removed, the asphalt, down to a level, because we're going to actually use that sort of as a control, excuse me, for the existing floodplain. So you'll see a slight berm there, but the road won't be there anymore. We're going to actually be using the culvert, which is kind of the little blue triangles right there. We'll be using that as kind of a weir structure for the pond on the backside, on the south side. And what was it?
Any other questions?
Oh, the presentation. So yes, we would be able to give you a presentation whenever all information is ready. And if you have any questions, I'll be here to the end of the meeting, and I have plans set and cards that you can take if you have any questions.
One more time, I didn't hear. So the road that we use right now to leave the high school and go to Kroger, that road is going to be gone, and then we'll have to go the other way? Is that what you
Yes. So the old road will be completely removed. It's going to be gone. The new road is what will be used once construction is complete. But in meantime, as far as when we're building it, you'll still be using that existing road. What we'll do is we'll create tie-ins on either end for temporary pavement to switch earlier to the southern side, so that way you can keep traveling through. But we'll be building up to the north. Yes. So the bridge extends pretty much in between the two existing roads, which is, thank you, Steeplechase and.
From here to here.
Correct. Yeah. That's not Kings Ferry. Coker, yes. It is, I think it is Coker. Coker Valley and Steeplechase.
And just out of curiosity, will the people that live in Steeplechase, will they get a noise reduction area, or is it just going to be?
It is going to be open. So there's no proposed noise barriers that we have. On all of our city projects, we have not proposed any noise barriers just because the noise it is produced at these lower speeds, but they're even higher, once you get rolling to 60, 70 miles an hour. Unfortunately, on this point, I guess right now, most of the trees will be removed in the area, so you won't really have any vegetation either. The reason we're removing, like I said, is because we are doing extensive mitigation to prevent any further flooding on the south side upstream of the bridge. That was, like I said, that was the main factor why, even right now, I think we're about 6 months behind schedule. And so we actually, that was caused by trying to determine a good solution so that way we wouldn't have that rise.
Thank you. Will you go back to the one more? Okay, there we go. All right, so went through the introductions. The purpose for the meeting, like I said, is just a general information, trying to look at a very high view of everything. The Sublette Road expansion, the Tech Stop project. The next part of it, what prompted this discussion was the state's requirement that school districts move to full-day pre-K, okay? If you're not familiar with that situation, school districts for a long time were not required to have full-day pre-K, and we were only offering throughout the state of Texas half-day pre-K situations, which allowed for us to have one class in the morning, one class in the afternoon. When you offer full-day pre-K, now you've doubled your numbers, but you're also doubling the spatial requirements that are going to be needed to accommodate those students. We signed a waiver 2 years ago, 1 year ago, last year, so 1 year ago. Sorry, forgot our timeline. We have upped what we're going to do. Instead of being 3 years, we're going to move to full-day pre-K next year. We have found the space. We're going to make sure that we can do it. And we are working this summer to make sure that we offer full-day pre-K for those that qualify. That led to several discussions with our board, and what we were really moving towards was an early childhood center. Okay? And if you're not familiar with an early childhood center, that would be a pre-K through first grade environment. And the purpose for that would be to keep those children together and working on the goal that we all have, which is making sure that they can read before they get into third grade. And we got a lot of teachers here nodding their heads who are in agreement with that, okay? We feel like that is the best model that we could provide. Well, that led to other conversations, and those conversations were, well, why don't we build an early childhood center? And we started looking at some of those scenarios, and we started looking at our facilities and our capacities. Well, that led to several studies. We realized we didn't have any studies that broke down our demographics and broke down where our students were. So we partnered with UTA to get a study done to look at that. Excuse me. We also partnered with a group called Owners Builders Resource, which is a civil engineering firm who basically looks at our capacities and square footage in our classrooms and what's the best use of our space for our environments for our students. And that's basically kind of where these studies came into play. And we've done a lot of walking and talking and looking and, throughout our district to look at what might be the best scenarios that we could offer. We're not going to go through all the scenarios tonight, okay? Because that's the group that's done the study. I'm going to have them come next meeting and discuss that. So Robert Gadbois from OBR will be at the next meeting, and he will take you through the scenarios that we have discussed, okay? What we have done is basically just do a lot of legwork to try to move us towards what's going to be the best solution for the district moving forward. And the UTA study led us to some of those other things. So the whole thing with full-day pre-K is what started this whole process. In addition to that, we have also recently came into the understanding that there's going to be a lot of developments that are developed within our district. And those are going to have an impact on us. And we're going to have to look at what we can do with our spaces. So with all of that being said, that's kind of leading me into the next part of the conversation. And I'll go into where these developments are going to be. Okay, and I'll kind of show you what we're going to be facing. Also on the maps over there, you have the corridor map that you can see where our property is and how that's going to affect us. And then beside it is our school district map with where these developments will be hitting us and where our schools are located, okay? So the first one, if you're not familiar with this is off of New Hope Road, and that's the drag strip out off of New Hope Road. Across the roadway from that will be the Moderna development. And the Moderna development is going to be single-family homes. They will be 1 to 2. I'm not sure about how many three-bedroom. There will be some three-bedroom homes in that development. There are going to be 52 homes built in that area. Some of that, 3/4 of that is in our school district, 1/4 of that is in Mansfield School District. And we're going to have to sit there and talk to Mansfield and see what we can do there. But that will be 52 homes, and those are ranging from $199,000. They started off at $100,000, and with the market, they're now $199,000. That's where they're starting from. And that's 52 homes that will be built there, and they will be starting, I think, in the next 6 months. They've already almost sold them out. So as far as building and being built out, we're looking at 6 months to 9 months, 6 to 12 months, sorry. Okay. The next development is off of Bowman Springs, right there at Business 287 in Bowman Springs. This is an area where they're looking at building 16 townhomes, okay, in that area there. And those will be, I believe, 2 to 3 bedroom townhomes. The next development is at Emerald Crest, and that's also on Bowman Springs, and that is the junior high school. So that's that corner lot right there beside the junior high school at Corey Edwards and Bowman Springs. And those will also be townhome models, and 10 of those. Oh, single-family homes, 10 of those. Then we have Kennedale Square, okay? And get my bearings here. So that's Little Road. That's Walmart, Little Road coming in front of it, and that's a piece of property there. That would be 117, I believe those are townhome / apartments, okay, or townhome-looking apartments. And then Hammond Creek is up by the Central Administration Office. This is Burger Box is right there at the very bottom of the blue lines. And that is going to be 152 apartments and 16, I believe, townhomes. And let's back up. And that is way underway already, and this completion date on that would be September of 2021. So that will hit us very quickly. Okay. Then off of Cardinal Road, there are going to be 55 small homes. This is supposed to be a senior. It's supposed to be for 55-plus population. We can't bank on the fact that there will not be children coming out of these homes. We have several students who live with their grandparents. And so we're not sure how this might impact us, but that's another 55 homes there. Okay. Then we have Eden Road. This is off of Mansfield Cardinal. Eden Road, I think, is across from the vineyards, I believe, is where that's going to go. That's another 24 homes that will be going in there. And that's late. Sorry, it says on there, go back one. late 2021. So that may be closer to December. So we're still looking at about 6 months out there. Oaks Court, this is basically the one right there at the turnabout off of Kennedale Sublet and Little Road. This was also supposed to be, I believe, senior living. There were supposed to be, I believe, 14 homes in that area. They've got one built right now or under construction. And these are smaller homes, and like I said, it's supposed to be for senior living. Okay. Magnolia Hills is the big development right at the end of Wildcat Way. There are 92 homes going in there, and they are almost sold out already. And they're predicting that those homes will hit us in the next 6 to 9 months. Okay. The town is the area right behind Kroger. This is a piece of property, and this is where the city of Arlington decided that this development was the best use for this property, because when that corridor comes through, there will be no access off of 287 into that property from the highway or off the service road. So the only way that you can get into that property is to go through the Kroger parking lot in that road that goes in between there. And this was the discussions that we had with the city of Arlington. But that will be 135. They're going to look like townhomes, but they're apartments, and they will be 2 to 3 bedroom. And they're supposed to be upscale townhomes. I believe the 2 bedrooms are going to go for $1,900, the 3 bedroom for $2,200 a month. Okay. The Alta Apartments, I'm trying to get my bearings here. This is off of Sublet Road. Okay, I know where this is by Coker Road, okay, and Albertsons. So this is right across the road from Sublet Road from the Kroger. This is where 270 apartments will be built off of that property. Knights Landing is off of 287. This is off of Eden Road, so Eden Road is right to the north of that. That corner lot at Eden and 287, they're going to build 86 townhomes in there. And those will start, I believe, in the 190,000s. Okay. Now, across the highway and up off of Sublet, everybody know where Denny's is? Okay. So right behind Denny's on all that yellow mapped out area is a bunch of vacant land. On that land, they're going to build another 35 townhomes in there. Okay. Further south from there on 287, they're going to build 43 homes, cottage-style homes, on that piece of property that is also off of 287. So when you look at the map, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 developments that will be impacting our district within the next 2 years. So that's pretty substantial. And whenever you total the number of housing units, that's 1,117 housing units that will be coming into our district. And if you do a law of averages at 10 to 15%, that's anywhere from about 125 to 200 students that we could be expecting the next 2 years coming in. Okay. That's a projection. Okay. So now, those are the housing units. Now we're going to get into the UTA study. So if you look at our population growth from between 2010 and 2017, the areas in red are where the majority of the growth has been. And this is in the southeastern portion of our district and right in the north central part of our district, right around the, I believe that would be the junior high area. Okay. This shows a cohort, and I wish I had, okay, I don't know if I have my laser, but I don't have a laser. But what I want you to pay attention to on here is if you look at 15 to 19 years, this is student population or the demographic population of the city. When you look at 15 to 19 years, in 2010, the blue is where the student population was. At 2018, the white is where the student population is. And I had a question earlier, well, how does this impact the high school? Well, the high school has been pretty steady with their numbers. But when you go to 10 to 14 years, the blue, once again, was the 2010 numbers. 10 to 14, was the 2018 numbers, and you see that those numbers grew. You do have the laser. So, okay. So now, this is what I'm talking about. So the white out here in 2000, this is 2018 numbers for boys. This is it's not working. Anyway. Oh, well. I was going to go over here and point. So looking at this line right here, this was the 2008 or 2010 male population numbers, and this was the female population numbers. By 2018, that had grown to here. The 10 to 14 years old, this was the 2008 or 2010, 2018. So population grew. But if you look from the 5 to 9 age range, it's the opposite. And this is where we're seeing the population decreases in our district right now. It's in that 5 to 10 year range, and that's at our elementaries up to Arthur. In Arthur, we're projecting to have the smallest populations they've had in a long time next year, because that age group is hitting there now. Now, that age group will continue to work its way up into the junior high and the high school. But if you notice below it, what do you see the trend happening here? It's going the opposite way. And this is what the UTA study is showing us, is that they're expecting our younger populations to start exploding, okay? And with these housing developments moving in, we can't predict where, but we think it's going to be younger students moving in. So if you look at our district population, once again, the darker areas over here, this is population under 5 years old. You can see where the majority of the students are. In population under 18, the same areas. Okay. This is the enrollment trends over time. At the top is the high school. You can see the high school, it fluctuates. But it doesn't fluctuate so much that we don't lose that many students. If you look at the bottom down here, I think it gives the green, the light green on the top, that is Delaney's population. And I'm not sure which one, the dark green, I think that's the junior high, and then the blue one is, one of them's Arthur, and one of them is, okay, there they are. So our 5th and 6th grade right now is tracking, but it's going to start trending down because of the numbers that I showed you previously. You're going to see this lull right here on the 171, 193, 212, 189, 195. See how much smaller those classes are than the upper grade level classes. And as that cycles through, but what we're predicting is that in our smaller grade levels, those numbers are going to start increasing again. And those projections from UTA are going to show that. Okay, if you go to the next slide. So once again, historical data, you can see the high schools track pretty, but you can see what's happening with Delaney's population. Now remember, Delaney has undergone several different configurations where those populations have shifted. When we were looking at our roofs and we were looking at pre-K, we had a wing that had at one time been the 4th grade wing, but it was so compromised that we decided that it was not in the best interest to try to sit there and salvage that wing, and that we were better off finding other options. But that pre-K wing, what had become the pre-K wing, was not going to be suitable for the pre-K that we were trying to bring into play. Okay. So population at Delaney has shifted, but like as I said, what we're looking at is the population going back up. This is just demographics, numbers. You can see the change from 2010 to 2019-20. This chart demonstrates the birth year, the resident births. So that means in Kennedale, Kennedale ISD, there were 248 births in 2005. By the time those children at age 5 started kindergarten in 2010, 197 of them were recaptured. okay, or captured, what they call the capture rate, for 79%. So does everybody understand what we're tracking here? But as you look through time, that went up, but then it started going down. And we believe that it's going to start going back up again, especially when we offer full-day pre-K. Part of the problem with having half-day pre-K is not everyone brings their children here because they're looking for full-day pre-K options. Well, then they go seek other options in other areas. Sometimes that's private schools, sometimes that's other school districts where they can take their kid to school full day, and they have a full-day option as working parents. We believe that as we offer full-day pre-K options, that's going to sit there and increase in number. Okay. This is 2010-11. We had 3,120 students at that time. You can see where the major populations were. I would say on average 60% of our student population comes from our Arlington side of our district. Okay. And when you look at the shift, I want you, when she toggles back and forth between this, notice the shift off of this area on the left-hand side, and we start seeing a bigger in the southern part of our district. So you see where the population shifts are happening. And a big part of that is the southern region of our district, southeastern region, has the highest per capita incomes in our region, in our district. Okay. This is where our students are distributed throughout our district at all grade levels. This is our pre-K, where our pre-K students are coming from currently for this year. This is kindergarten, first grade, second, slow down a little bit, third grade. Why is it going so fast? Slow down. Go back to second grade. Yeah. Okay, there we go. I thought it was like cycling, and I was like, all right. So, okay, now go to third grade. Fourth grade. The fifth grade. Sixth. Seventh. Do what? Okay. These are the grade levels that we are going to be focusing on. As we start looking at our studies and what our options are in the different scenarios, these maps are going to come into play for that. Okay. All right, let's go to the next slide. Our projections. So if you look at the UTA study and with the projections, the blue line is a 3-year projection. The light green line is a 5-year projection, and the darker green line is a 10-year projection. But you're looking at all of those projections, expecting us to be around 3,400 students or more by the time we get to 2033, 34. Okay. So UTA study is projecting that our populations will start to grow, and they're projecting that's going to start hitting us at our lower grade levels. Now, why, if our populations are dwindling in our elementary, are we worried about space? Okay. Because last year we had 5 teachers, we had to add teachers at Patterson to sit there and because we were growing. This year with COVID, the numbers have dropped back down. Next year, we don't know what they're going to be. We're hoping that we'll be past COVID and those numbers will go back up. But the spatial concerns become a problem because when you're looking at 5 teachers per grade level, those are classrooms. And then when you start looking at your specials and your intervention classrooms, the space becomes the biggest issue. What we are looking at with these studies is how do we proportion our students to where we have more space, to where we can have future growth and handle the future growth that may be coming our way. So that's kind of the big purpose of what we're here for tonight, okay, to kind of look at that. If you look at these projections here, you'll see that those numbers are going to grow. I'm trying to look off the little screen and turn and look at the big one. You look at 2019, 20, and then 2021. You look at where our numbers are, and then you look at the projections of where they're going to grow from there. And this is all off of the demographics studies that UTA completed. And then At Arthur, you're going to start seeing a lull, and then you'll see it start growing again. And then same thing at the junior high, you'll see a lull, and then you'll see it start growing again. And then eventually the high school will experience the same thing. And that's as that group that we have right now in our lower grade levels cycles through. Okay? That's it? Okay. So, we've done the study with UTA. We looked at numbers. We're looking at projections. We're looking at where our demographics are broken down, where our students are. We have looked at, we are currently working with Owners Builders Resource to start looking at our capacities and start coming up with scenarios. They've been developing scenarios, looking at those capacity studies, looking at our numbers, looking at projections, and how we can handle future growth and maybe shift some of our student populations in our district to be able to do that better. And what's going to be our best option. So, we're now at the point where I'm going to tell you we're going to have another one of these meetings on June 1st, which will be Tuesday. We're going to be right back in here at 6 o'clock on June 1st. And if you want to be part of that committee, we're going to sit there and ask you to sign up. I don't know where that came from, but ask you to sign up and be a part of that committee if you want to be a part of that committee on helping us decide what's going to be the best option moving forward with our district and our future planning. Okay. The next meeting will be on June 22nd, and it will be at the junior high school so that we can do some planning and work in groups like we did with our other committee that we just got finished up with. All right. And I think are we at an hour? Where are we? 6:49. So are there any questions that I could possibly answer right now? Like I said, I'm trying to give you a 50,000-foot view, kind of show you what we're facing, what's coming our way, and how we, are planning on dealing with that. Yes.
The ones that you went over tonight are all already approved projects.
Those are approved projects.
Are there
Now,
ones in city council that are being proposed?
okay, go back to the very beginning of the racetrack one. Sorry, go back there.
Oh, the Moderna?
Yeah, the drag strip. Okay, so on the right side is Moderna, where the drag strip is. There's going to be another projected Moderna Village where they're going to go across the roadway and build where the drag strip is. That has not been approved, but that is possibly in the works. Okay. That area out there has the most potential for growth in our district. It has the most land area for future growth, but there are a lot of considerations I think that people are going to have to take into place there. Okay, so any other questions?
Is there a way we can get emailed this presentation?
She's going to send it out as soon as we get people who are on the committee. And we also, like I said, we'll put the video of this out so more people can see it. Yes.
Just a clarifying question, the UTA projection take in consideration all those new development, or they're just based on demographics?
Those are based off of historical records. They are not taking place because those developments were not, when we were doing the study, they were not even on the radar. Okay.
We'll go back to that last slide and show the enrollment at each campus.
Enrollment projections.
Yes.
Okay.
I think it showed that Kennedale High School, it's a high 11 or 1,100 students or something like that.
Said 22? Maybe 34, 35?
He said it will have a lull for a while whenever that group of students cycles up to the high school, but then it'll go back. It's going to go back up.
Sure, but it never even reaches 1,100, does it?
Okay. And I will tell you, in looking at our studies, we feel like at the high school, spatially wise, we're in good shape. At the junior high, we feel like we're in good shape. The two elementaries, no.
When we did these studies 17 years ago, we thought at that time that Kennedale High School would eventually be about 1,500 students. 17 years ago, that was the prediction based on similar studies. And the reason I particularly remember that is because we talked about building the anticipating 1,500 enrollment, and the advisors said, no, don't go with more than 1,000 seats. But, so the point is that obviously charter schools, private schools, kids are going somewhere else rather than Kennedy High School. That we expected back then, people said it would happen within 3 or 4, 5 years.
Well, you know, I drive through our district randomly at different times, and you see Oak Ridge, you see the other schools that they're going to, and that's just a reality. And while we're here, we have a charter that is trying to open across the highway from Kroger at Fielder Church, and they're projecting 1,500 students, K through 12 years old, or 12th grade, in that church across the highway from us, you know. Well, Mansfield's getting hit, you know, so Mansfield and us have been visiting with our representatives and our senators, and we've been visiting. We've had a group conversation on why they're allowed to move into our districts when our districts are very successful, you know. And that goes against what the premise of charters is supposed to be for. So, you know, we're going to have to deal with all options here. So, I mean, those are all things that are going to affect us. But right now, those charter amendments are up, and if you care about our district, then you might want to sit there and reach out to your legislators and let them know that we don't think that a charter moving into our district is the best interest of our school district, because that takes away funding from our students. And that's everything right now is about funding. So, what other questions? Yes.
Can you go back to page 27, please? I just wanted to compare that one. The five back.
Yes.
The committee you were talking about, what's the time, like, how often will they be meeting, and approximately how long will be their responsibilities?
Okay, and, you know, if you know other people who would be interested on that committee, then bring them along. But I know we have people who weren't able to be here tonight, but, you know, we'll start at 6 o'clock, and I'm assuming by 8 o'clock we'll be done. So hope we don't go over 2 hours with each meeting. Like tonight's meeting is more informational. I'm looking at about an hour here, you know. But with the other meetings, if we're doing some work and moving towards some things, it may be an hour and a half, 2 hours for that. I'm looking at early on because we need to kind of start moving forward. I would like to be able to bring a recommendation to the board off of our committee to where we feel like we need to go, hopefully by the end of the summer.
And is it open to as many people want to join, or
I can't hear you very well.
is it open to as many parents want to join?
It's open to our community, so they want to be on it. So, yeah.
And you said that the next one's June 1st?
June 1st, and we'll be right back in here, okay, at 6 o'clock. And that one will be information about the different scenarios that we've been exploring and looking at. Okay. Oh, sorry.
When you say rezoning, do you mean within the district, or that with all of these developments that some students may go to Mansfield or Arlington?
If other districts take transfers, we can't, you know, that's on them. They could go to private schools, they could go to charter schools. We have students right now that go to charter schools that we lose, but, you know, that number fluctuates.
Don't change, I mean,
Oh, the boundary lines?
boundaries.
Those boundary lines are based off our 2 elementaries right now. So when you go back, you go one screen up, 2 screens up. Okay, if you see the line right, do you see the line right in the middle of the district? The one that breaks the district right in half, right there? That's the 2, one is Delaney and that Patterson. Those are the 2 that have attendance boundaries right now. Okay. And, you know, those are some of the considerations with the scenarios. Do we change boundary lines? How do we configure? So those are all part of the scenario options that will be laid out at the next meeting. Okay. Any other questions?
You said the recommendation would be to the board, what date or when would you propose that the recommendation?
Like I said, I'm hoping by our August board meeting, okay, if not sooner. depending on how fast we can kind of get the work done and get to a consensus. And that's why the more people in the community we have that are involved, the better.
You said that some of this was generated by the House bill that requires full-day pre-K, but also obviously the development. We are moving to full-day pre-K next year. So what is the plan for where those kids are going to be accommodated?
Okay, so
right now?
they are right now at Delaney. Okay, so we have shifted our teachers. That's going to be one of the projects this summer. A big project that Ms. Mode and her staff will be working on is moving our teachers around to accommodate the pre-K.
So there is sufficient room capacity in Delaney right now to do that
For
project?
right now, yes.
Full day.
Okay. But we expect, as I said, pre-K to grow, and what we'd like to do is grow it even more to where now we can allow anybody who wants to bring their kid to pre-K here can do so. That's why we want to create the Early Childhood Center. What other questions? Nobody? Okay. I think we're right on an hour. These guys have stuck around. If you'd like to ask them questions about the corridor and the sublet exchange, they'll be here and answer your questions. I'll stay and answer any other questions you want. But thank you all for attending, and spread the word.